Just one more hour until reinforcements, aka me, arrive to save the day. But until then, keep your eyes on the highway and keep on trucking with Jimmy Mack on Road Gang Radio, y'all.
By the way, which is really kind of Baron von Gruvenstein, he called earlier in the morning. He's going to call a little bit after we kind of talk about him. I know his ears must be buzzing. By the way, our good friend Trucker Bosun says a great number of his loads for the rest of the year are going to be turkeys. He's going to be hauling them turkeys. Hauling them turkeys. He's got veins in his neck from calling all those turkeys out there. Speaking of turkeys... you knew it was coming, didn't you? Actually, no, it was their turkey week. It was Thanksgiving over in Canada. Always pleased to have Jim Park and Joanne Ritchie arrive on the scene. And given what Joanne is going to start off with, it's great that he's going to call almost immediately after it. But Dre, what you got?
Listen, I got to say something to y'all real quick. So my brother is working on a new rig. He's not working off the Gulf of Mexico. He's working off over there near New York somewhere. I'm not exactly sure. Don't quote me on that. But he celebrated Canadian Thanksgiving on his rig because that's most of the guys on there. He sends a picture to us of the buffet that's going on, and we literally just see a pink mountain of something. And we're all like, everything else looks great, but what the hell is that? And he sends a picture of it, and it's literally a mountain of smoked salmon.
A mountain of smokes? My dad would be like, my dad would literally push down old ladies and children to get to a mountain of smoked salmon right now.
Oh, my God. I'm just hoping it's smoked salmon. He just said it's good, so hopefully it was. But
it was smoked salmon.
Is that a Canadian thing?
Jim, Joanne, is that a Canadian thing for Thanksgiving? Smoked salmon? Big stack of it?
Are you just doing mountains of it?
It's never been part of my smoked salmon. That's more of a Montreal bagel and cream cheese thing with smoked salmon.
Oh, picking on the Montreal people. I see what's going on here. How dare you?
Jim?
How dare you? Jim, what about you? Is smoked salmon part of your Thanksgiving celebration?
Who can afford that?
That's what I'm talking about, Jim. That's it.
Jim, you sounded like an American more and more every day, dude.
My man. Where's the capers? We can't afford capers.
We can't afford capers. What are you talking about?
Bring on the hot dogs.
Yeah, have hot dogs for Thanksgiving. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I thought he said hot sauce. Okay, never mind.
Well, I'm going to let you do this first, Joe, and we're going to jump right in because we got him on the phone, but I'm going to make him sit here and listen to himself get praised before we bring him on. He's been dying to find out where you guys are, and he's finally found us, as many people have. But, Joanne, let's do it right. He actually dropped a little bit of it when we were talking to Dean in the last hour. But why don't you unfold this? Why don't you give the man, as they would say in Shakespeare's time, his aves vehement? We're going to praise him immensely.
Yeah.
Go on.
This is, I have a huge shout-out today for Starduster, one of our regular listeners and sometimes callers. He raised close to $14,000 almost for the Nova Scotia Truck Convoy for Special Olympics, which took place a couple of weeks ago. So altogether, there were over 200 trucks in that convoy, and they raised $184,662 and change. So Starduster, his contribution put him in second place, or second lead truck in the convoy, and he came away with a couple of other honors that I want to mention as well. He was honored with a Truck Driver Giving Back Award by Special Olympics Nova Scotia in recognition of his dedication and contribution to the cause, and he was also given a challenge coin from Nova Scotia RCMP to recognize his contribution over the years. Does everybody know what a challenge coin is?
Oh, believe me. Oh, no.
Person to find out. Well, you know, Jimmy Mack. Yeah.
Oh, no, these folks know, man. People just, I'm telling you, man, it's like it has become, I hate to say it, the coin of the realm. It really is groovy. But go ahead, Joe, and unpack it for people.
I did not know, this tradition that went back to the Roman Empire, but as I understand it, although modern militaries and other organizations, law enforcement organizations and others are using it with their members, that it's not very often that they give these coins to civilians to recognize their special achievements and contributions. So Starduster's challenge coin from the Nova Scotia RCMP, who are themselves a big part of the Special Olympics convoy in Nova Scotia, I think that's really something special. I do have other convoy information, but I'm just pausing here for applause for Starduster.
Let's bring him on. Let's get him on right now. We got him on the phone, actually. I know he wants to tell you guys hello. It's been a while since we've all kind of talked together, and I wanted to make sure that he got a chance to hear what a wonderful person he is. Starduster, good morning, and welcome back. You're on with Jim and Joanne.
Oh, thank you. That's amazing. I don't know how we did it with 201 trucks, but we ended up raising 100, like Joanne said, $184,662.33. Likely took first place in North America again for raising the most money.
That's right.
Joanne,
Yeah.
Joanne, Jim.
Still counting. Convoys are still counting, but Nova Scotia, everyone there deserves a shout out.
Joanne,
that's for sure.
Joanne, I wanted to tell you this. I wanted to tell Starduster this, and I wanted him to be able to talk. Starduster is individually responsible for 7.5% of all the money raised by that convoy.
Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
He's probably, Starduster, you've probably already started on next year, right?
I got a couple $100 raised already.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Well, the guy that takes first place takes lead truck. His company matches him dollar for dollar, but they have 2 stock cars. And
yeah.
You're
not there yet, eh?
His final total was 44,000.
Yeah,
a little over 45.
Yeah, but dude, he's got stock cars. I mean, it's like these people are cheating, man. It's like, I mean, God bless them. I mean, it's cheating. What is it? It's cheating for the cause, which I'm all in favor of.
Well,
no, it's not. No, it's not cheating.
No, I know.
It's not cheating.
I know.
He does NASCAR. His name is Cole Butcher.
Oh, very cool.
Okay, so you're in good company then. So even though Nova Scotia, convoys are still counting their money. It comes in a little bit after, but it looks like for the second year that the Nova Scotia convoy, second year in a row, they're going to be the largest.
Year.
Oh, here we go, Joanne. Here we go, bragging rights.
Okay. Sorry.
You want to try about 5 or 6?
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I'm really out of it, but that's in North America. That's the largest in terms of both the number of trucks and of the money raised. But I just want to say here that there were 2 other convoys in Canada this year. In September, Manitoba saw 55 trucks raise over $40,000, and Ontario came in with $145,000 and over 60 trucks. Sorry. So that means that there's more than 315 truck drivers out there besides Starduster, who gave their time and energy and money to this wonderful cause. So it's a shout out to them as well.
All right, Starduster, I got to get to other news here, but we wanted to praise you. We wanted to make sure you got your moment because you deserve it. You deserve it every year. Well done. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks, Starbuster. Thanks for calling.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bye.
Really quickly, Joanne, not quickly, take as much time as you want. Let's recap the other Canadian Special Olympics convoys. Let's talk about them as well.
Yeah, there was Ontario, which is I think the longest running convoy in Canada, and they had 60 trucks this year, and they raised $145,000. So that's a lot of money per truck, per driver to come in. And out in Manitoba, they had 55 trucks driving around the Manitoba perimeter, the Winnipeg, Manitoba perimeter. That's a lot to say. Anyway, they raised $40,000. So as I said, that means that with that number of trucks, there's a lot of truck drivers out there besides Starbucks who were part of 315 at least who deserve a shout out in addition to Starduster. But we singled out Starduster because he's a regular
friend of the show.
Caller,
friend of the show.
and friend, absolutely, and he got those other honors as well because, as I said, like he's already got $200 for next year. This guy is absolutely dedicated in the way the ideas that he comes up with to raise money and the effort he puts into it all year long without a couple of stock cars.
Okay, I'm going to pivot here now because we have to go from the sublime to the absolutely miscreant ridiculous. Jim is going to take us into some issues that they're having over in British Columbia and Alberta, who are both taking steps to clean up what he calls, and I agree, rampant fraud in the truck training industry. By the way, we had on Missy Blair yesterday on Education Station, and the big focus of CVTA and the National Association of Publicly Funded Truck Driving Schools down here is trying to get bad actors out of the system. That's kind of what British Columbia and Alberta are doing, right, Jim?
They're taking steps in that direction, yeah. We've got You still here?
We're there, Jim. Go on.
Okay, sorry. I'm getting a weird sound from my phone there. I'm sorry. British Columbia, Alberta, and Ontario have got a real problem with these fly-by-night driving schools. The CDL mills or whatever you want to call them. They just don't abide by the rules. They make their own rules. They cheat, they steal, they do whatever they're trying to do to make a buck. And in the end, put the motoring public at risk because they're not training the drivers properly. I won't even say well, but properly. Somehow they get through the licensing system and actually pass their test. That's another amazing feat. But these people get onto the road, they get their CDL, and down the highway they go and knocking things over, breaking things, and it's just, it's terrible.
Bridge strikes. Bridge strikes.
Yeah, well, there's that too. So anyway, the industry at large has been calling for some kind of a crackdown on these schools for a long time. We seem to know the problem, the industry, that is, that this problem exists, but whether government's prepared to acknowledge it kind of remains to be seen because government's not doing much about it seems. So that's why those two stories this morning kind of resonate because Alberta just got over a long 6-month investigation into what was going on at schools in that province. It wound up shutting down several driving schools. They issued 39 disciplinary letters. Now, if that isn't a threat, I don't know what is. More than $100,000 in fines and penalties, and they revoked the instructor licenses for 12 driver instructors at these schools. Oh, and issued 4 warning letters to driver examiners. Those are the folks who work for the ministry facilities. So there's definitely shenanigans going on, and the industry is pretty pleased that they're finally taking some action. Question is, what's taken so long? I mean, why is this not a high priority? Sadly, in Ontario, very little's going on that we're aware of. But we're going to try and move that needle a little bit as time goes on. I didn't mention British Columbia there in that little rant. Sorry. They've actually closed down probably a dozen schools at this point, which is like maybe 10% of the school population in some cities. It's insane how many driving schools there are in British Columbia. And most of them are these, guy operates a school out of his driveway, basically.
Yeah, just bring it on in. Bring it on in. No,
an old beater of a truck.
Yeah, back it up. Come on, back it up. Yeah, you just don't knock over the garage. Just come on, bring this thing on in. It'll all be fine. Jim, you've actually editorialized a lot about this. As a matter of fact, it's a real bee in your bonnet, isn't it? On a personal level, I mean, it's almost. I mean, I've read some of your stuff. You almost take it personally. I take it personally. I mean, it really does get under your skin, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. There are a lot of people trying to do things right in trucking. Well, this applies across the board in almost any industry. The people who try to do things right professionally and safely incur costs. It's difficult, it's awkward, it's time consuming. It's never easier than doing the right thing. But these other people, well, they seem to think that they can thwart the system, cheat the system, do whatever the heck they want and get away with it. With no fear of retribution or penalties or anything. And as I said in one of my recent columns, I hope there's a special place in hell for these people who run these driving schools, who cheat the students, don't give them the time they need to do the instruction that they're paying for, and then turn these, untrained students loose on the highway, unknowing really the damage they're going to cause when they get out there. So it all comes back to the driving schools. And
we are talking. I just want to interject here that we're talking, when you talk about somebody with a bee in their bonnet, we're talking about somebody who puts a lot of pride in being able to parallel park a B train.
Oh no. I know he takes it personally. I'm not diminishing, because I'm telling you, you should have heard me yesterday about the idea. Let me get right down to brass tacks. I am speaking in what I call the exact opposite of hyperbole here. I'm completely in accordance with Jim on this. It is not easy to produce a good truck driver, and I don't know how you guys feel about it. I think we do have a shortage of drivers. It's a shortage of people who have been trained well from the get-go. Now, many people get there because they just have tenacity and the temerity to kind of hang around in the industry, but the problem is the fact that, we are rushing people through process, and we are promising them the world. A lot of these CDL mill schools, by the way, Jim and Joanne, have literally pitched themselves as a get-rich-quick scheme. That basically you get behind the wheel of a truck and you get that first check and you won't believe how your life has changed in the blink of an eye. And that's not how.
Unbelievable.
And that is not how. That is not how a life in trucking is built. It can be incredibly profitable and it can lead to some great lifestyles. But nobody ever got behind the wheel of a truck and on the second week found themselves in the middle of a windfall. If they did, they're hauling something they shouldn't be hauling, and they might even die out of a hail of bullets at the border. That's about the only way you can ever walk away with any sort of real, big money in the blink of an eye. And a lot of people are pitching this as if it's an instant gold strike. And, and they're dumbing it down more and more, doing the minimum and then going beneath the minimum. Because you made a good point, Jim. Sorry to get off on a rant here, but you said it's not that they're not doing it well, is they're not doing it at all a lot of the time. That's fair, right?
It would seem to be. I mean, whatever training these poor sods get at these driving schools, it's only to pass a test. And there's all kinds of evidence here in Ontario that the ministry hasn't acted on yet, unfortunately, where the driving schools are picking and choosing the test centers to send their students to. These are allegations at this point, by the way, just allegations. Based on
I think you just have a little bit of a coughing moment right there. We'll let him kind of get himself straightened out. But that's okay, Jim. Believe me, trust me. I actually have a guy that sits on a board and actually can press a button when that happens to me. You don't have such a luxury, so you go ahead and take your time. You ready to kind of talk a little bit more about it?
Yeah, the driving examination centers around the province, for one reason or another, tend to do specific. Sorry.
That's okay. Joanne, I know you follow this a little bit too. I know that it's something that's important to you as well. And by the way, I mean, how do we begin to really address this issue? How do we really begin to kind of solve this problem?
I think that what we've seen, the things that Jim was talking about, the actions that some of the provinces are taking are a beginning. Being older and cynical as we both are, we sort of say, well, is this just for show, or are they really doing something? But I think as long as the industry pushes from one end and they start to do something, that maybe we're seeing a breakthrough. But I just wanted to say as well that the losers in all of this are, besides the general public, who's being, who is having to share the road with these ill-trained or poorly trained or untrained drivers. The sad thing is the drivers themselves. Who unsuspectedly come into this. If you don't know what you don't know when you start, you take up with one of these schools, and that is really difficult for the industry to make an honest claim that we need good drivers and encouraging people to get into the industry when others see this happening. So that's a sad part of it as well. It's those potential drivers that are being shortchanged.
Yes.
And who often end up, in really bad situations out on the road.
Speaking of short change, by the way, I'm going to read a line here. To borrow a term from the aviation industry, stick and rudder skills. But do manual transmissions automatically, sorry for the pun, make better drivers? Those are the words of Jim Park, by the way, over in trucknews.com. And it brings up a really good question. How much of a benefit, and I'd love to hear, and I have an idea, okay, I've read the piece, how much of a benefit is it for people when they're going and getting their CDL, or when they're kind of, I guess, what you would say, continuing education, to really learn how to actually, if you're one of the few who still drive stick, you're one of the few we want, that ad that is proclaimed that you found on LinkedIn. Talk about that a little bit, Jim, and the piece as well, which is great.
Well, there was a discussion we had about manual transmissions disappearing from the landscape. That's been a trend over the last few years. And somebody asked the question, well, what are the driving schools going to do when they can't buy trucks with manual transmissions? And people started going, well, yeah, we need manuals to train on, but really, what does it matter? Because 95% of the on-highway trucks sold these days have automated manuals in them. So, why are we even bothering to train on manual transmissions? And in Ontario and BC, there's a couple of other provinces, you get a restricted Class A if you take your test on an automated. So you're limited to driving automated transmissions. But that doesn't mean all that much anymore if you want a highway driving job, because all the new trucks have automated manuals. Anyway, the point was, do we really need to bother training people to drive on manual transmissions? And as you can see from some of the responses to that column, yeah, you need manual transmissions, or you need a better way to train people to understand the vehicle dynamics involved in 80,000-pound trucks compared to a family minivan. But when these folks in these driving schools are given 2 days of driver training, 10 hours behind the wheel, 12 hours, as opposed to taking a week to figure out how to double clutch and match the revs and get the shifting properly down in their heads and their physical coordination. You learn a lot about the vehicle and the dynamics when you're struggling like that. It's part of the learning process. And you understand weight, and you understand you have to be in a certain gear to turn a corner. You just don't come roaring up to a traffic light, slam on the brakes, and then throw it into a tight right turn. But you can do that with an automated manual. So you come away from the training without some fundamental knowledge of how the truck works and how the truck feels. I liken the manual transmission as a physical connection between the driver and the wheels of the truck, the drive wheels, not the steering wheel. And that goes away with an automated manual. I got nothing against automated manuals. I think they're great, but they're not the way to teach people how to drive. And that was really the question in that column.
I thought it was dazzling. I'm gonna be really honest with you. I've been so excited to talk about this, by the way, guys, and I really thought it was amazing quality riding and a really great point too. The idea that there's nothing wrong with being an automated. As a matter of fact, there's so many advantages to it. But the people who really have the advantage in automated, if you really read Jim's piece closely, and tell me if I get this wrong, the people who really have an advantage driving automated trucks are the people who are, automated transmissions, are the people who actually know how to drive it manually. Because you have a sense of what it is you're driving. You're less prone to make mistakes because you're aware of how the truck works. I love the idea of man and machine, woman and machine, driver and machine becoming one with the machine, actually understanding it the way they understand their own body. And, knowing things. And by the way, I think in regards to maintenance, you have a much better sense of what's going on and what's going wrong with your truck. Is that fair?
I would. Yeah, I'd go with that. That's fair too. Yeah.
It's just, it's an opportunity. And by the way, so are we suggesting, is this a possibility that it should be foundational training? It isn't that you're going to get behind the wheel of a manual a lot of the time anymore, but that foundationally training, it should be there. Even if you have to kind of stumble your way through it, even if you have to kind of fight your way to the other side, doing the work that needs to be done. But I mean, do you feel like the comprehensive training should include this? And like I said, people haven't read the piece yet. I know where you kind of come down on this, but do you feel like this should be a part of the foundational training of a CDL?
I do, absolutely, yeah. And if the day comes when manuals no longer exist, we're going to have to figure out a way to train people on understanding the weight and the dynamics of the truck, because that's fundamentally what's missing when you learn on an automated gearbox. So one of the women I spoke to in the story, she runs a driving school in Eastern Ontario. They have a shifting simulator, which helps folks learn how to navigate the clutch pedal and the shift timing. I'm not sure it teaches them fundamentals of the truck as far as weight and stuff is concerned, but it gets them over one of the difficult humps of learning an automated manual transmission. Less time-consuming manner. You're doing the simulator rather than a real truck. But at least they get the exposure to it.
Yeah.
And then when they get into an actual manual out in the yard or on the road, they can do it. They understand the principles. So that gets them over that hump. And then the rest of the training on the manual transmission comes a whole lot easier. So I think that's a good solution, because learning to drive a non-synchronized manual transmission is a real challenge for some people.
By the way, that is dazzling, and by the way, that's a great example of where technology can actually meet the road and make a big difference. Those simulators, people don't realize that's one of the great benefits. You can have somebody, working with the automatic in the yard while at the same time taking care of business, doing manual simulations. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Joanne. Dre, hit that music. Canada Calling, OBAC.ca, Jim Park, Joanne, Ritchie. Congratulations to Starduster.